and welcome to another episode of the FTTC podcast, sponsored by River Bend Prairie Landfill, the premium dumping ground in the Chicagoland area. Just like my team last year, it's full of only the best trash. We're your new home for breaking news and breaking balls in the fantasy sports world. From touchdowns to tailgates, we've got it all covered with a dash of witty banter. I'm your host, Jason Stankiewicz, and I'm joined here today by a perennial playoff contender, a shrewd navigator, and the man also known as Daddy Spooks, Mr. Tim Pollard. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate the playoff lauding. I feel like it goes a little unnoticed, to be honest.
Yeah, I was checking out the league history today. You've been dancing around quite a bit. Only a couple missed playoffs since 2017. I think that's pretty impressive considering there's some members of the league who've barely even gotten there.
Some say all I had to do was move out of the belt to find fantasy football success. So I'm happy with how the last 7 years have gone. Obviously would prefer to have a championship belt along the way, but you know what? I'll take a couple third place finishes, a couple just sneaking into the playoffs, better than getting last, which I will say I have yet to do.
Hey, that is a blessing, let me tell you. But yeah, you're dancing around there. Your time's got to come soon enough. But let's talk a little bit about last season, which it didn't go the best for you.
No.
You finished 5-9 after being projected to finish third
Was
after
it really
the draft.
5-9? Wow. Okay.
5-9,
That's even worse than I remembered.
A tough result, but do you think this was a case of just a tough management year, or a few things went wrong, or was it you got hit by a bunch of injuries?
I definitely feel like I caught a bit of the injury bug. I started out to a fast start with my Lamar Jackson Mandrews stack. I believe I was bragging about it by week 3. Put up, I think I averaged 150 points those first 3 weeks. I thought it was mine, honestly. I thought I had it. And then I uttered one of the most famous phrases of all time now. In our commissioner's apartment, the phrase was, quote, "My team is good," end quote. After that, I lost 7 straight weeks to find myself clawing out of last place. 5-9, definitely a disappointment coming out of the draft. I thought I had a championship squad, but I felt like I showed some moxie getting those final 2 wins over the last 10 weeks. So hopefully this year will be a little bit better.
Yeah, and honestly, the performance was impressive given the performance of Jonathan Taylor. Sitting there with the 1-1, you had quite a conundrum last year.
Yeah, one of the all-time busts. It makes it even worse. Up until the day of the draft, I was actually planning on taking young Christian McCaffrey, and instead I took JT. He fell the cookie, I believe, and the rest is history.
Yeah,
I think Cookie, right? Cookie had CMC.
I think he did. I think you're right on that.
The reason I know that is because must have been 4 or 5 weeks in, I was trying to retrade JT for CMC, and Cookie told me to kick rocks. So
I can't blame him for that. That's the problem with the 1-1 though. Some years it's great when there's a clear guy and he doesn't get hurt, but last year that was a tough year for it. It was not a clear decision by any stretch.
Yeah, the only thing I can really rest on is I felt like he was the consensus pick across most experts. So, I went with it, didn't work out, time for 2023. Not trying to think about last year, not thinking about Lamar, not thinking about Mark Andrews getting outplayed by a rookie tight end, not thinking about, I made a couple good trades, saved the season. So, positives and negatives came out of it, but, I'm looking forward to 2023. I think this is the year.
Sounds like a good outlook. I got to get some last comments, though, on last year's season, specifically around the controversy surrounding Roadrunner's Naz. Now, he obviously took home the title. There was some debate about that, given the Damar Hamlin situation. I'm curious if you have any thoughts, first of all, on the resolution of that. And then also, I want to get your thoughts on some rumors that we heard that there might have been some heavy investment from the Naz group, potentially some back channeling to the commissioner. Curious if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think first point, that game, I think was probably one of the wildest NFL games that we will see in our lifetime. That Bills Bengals game. I thought it was honestly handled with class. I was on vacation at the time. Daddy Spooks had packed up for the year. Uh, we were on the banana boat,
Oh, baby,
relaxing.
love it.
Yeah, getting ready for 2023. And like honestly, I thought there was a case to be made that Zay should have taken the championship. I think it was less than a point or around a point differential.
It
And I'm
was. Let me see. I
yeah,
think I actually have it here. Yeah, 111 to 109.
yeah.
Pretty tight battle.
I think there's and I think was it Mixon left for Zay?
I think it might have been Mixon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a very good case for Zay taking home the championship and majority of the purse. So I'm proud of my fellow league members. I'm proud that they were able to come up with a great compromise. In terms of the sports washing that went on between Naz and the commissioner, all I'll say is that league office funds were not involved. It all was whatever did or did not happen was probably transacted through some sort of Russian bank account, and I can't comment on that.
Well,
But I did notice the commissioner actually moved into a brand new nice apartment
yeah, yeah.
this summer. So I'll let you come to your own conclusion.
I think you make some good points there, but it is nice to hear that at least the league office is honorable on the treasury side.
Yeah. But just going back to the compromise, I truly do think it was a shining moment for the league. I think some camaraderie was shown across two league managers that are perennial winners, both great managers, especially Naz. And I'm just happy we came to a quick and easy conclusion to the season, and we were able to celebrate our champion. And I would like to take this time to congratulate Zay on a well fought second place, which probably should have been first.
I'm sure he will certainly enjoy that. Congratulations or appreciate it, and I'm sure Durante will also take those nice comments in stride. Let's move on a little bit to your off-season training regimen. Now, obviously you're a competitive player making the playoffs for the last 6 years. What sort of training regimen has led you to this kind of success?
That's a great question. Like I said, 2017, I was living in the Beld. I had disgusting roommates, 3 just absolutely brutish roommates. All they did was consume alcohol, smoke weed, stay up late on Saturday and Sunday nights. I was not getting the rest I needed. I finally moved in with my girlfriend at the time. And I've just been, the last 6 years, I've been resting really well. I focused on sleep. I've been drinking protein shakes. I've been running more. Honestly, it's mental, it's physical, it's spiritual, it's everything. This summer specifically, I'm trying to think, what have I changed? I don't know. I'll let the record speak for itself. It's steady Eddie, easy as it goes. I'm keeping things constant. I'm not trying to change too much. Ready to make another playoff appearance and, hopefully find myself in the championship game. Have not made a championship game yet. But I'm hoping to break through that glass ceiling.
Yeah, it's got to be coming for you. And honestly, with the success you've had, keeping things consistent is probably the way to go. Now, thinking about off-season training regimen, moving into the next phase of that, right? We start thinking about the draft in next couple weeks. Draft for you seems to have been pretty RB heavy, taking an RB first for the last 5 years. You seem to always leave round 4 with at least two running backs.
Wow.
Is that where you think the strongest players are in the draft? Do you think there's any value sacrificed elsewhere?
I feel seen right now. I'll tell you what. Right now, I'm in a great spot. Picking 5th. I feel like the last couple of years, just based off of my position, I kind of had to go like hero RB early. Now it's bitten me in the butt. I have yet to find that winning formula. So I would say this year I'm definitely looking at a slightly different strategy. Can I say too much about it at this point with Cookie picking before me and Sam picking after me? No. Now, would I say there's no 2 managers I'd rather be sandwiched between in the draft than those 2? We'll see. But I'll just say this. the following the draft at the end of draft night, I think you'll see a different Daddy Spooks than you've seen the last couple of years. That's all I'll say.
That's exciting. It'll be exciting to see how the new strategy plays out. But I got to put you on the spot a little bit. Who are you looking at number 5? I know it's a question you might not be able to answer directly, but where are you leaning?
I would say, it seems like we're at this interesting period in fantasy football where, like, I would say probably since the league was formed, 2015 was maybe the last year where I think Odell and Antonio Brown went in the top 3 or top 4. It was the last time it was really wide receiver heavy or at least just like equilibrium. I feel like it went RB heavy after that. We became obsessed with it. And now that the league is kind of moving away from that bell cow strategy, running back by committee on most good NFL rosters, most good, high scoring offenses. I would say the pass catcher has kind of returned into that top 5, top 6. I would be shocked if 3 running backs were taken in the top 6 this year. Now, what does that say about where I will be making my selection? I don't know. Will this air before or after the draft?
I can't guarantee it won't be before the draft.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this: if one of the top 2 running backs finds its way to me, there's a chance I'll pull the trigger again and start the inevitable cycle of having 2 running backs that bust on me, and I scramble the rest of the season and make a couple of trades with Brian Granny, or Kelsey's going to be there. One of Tyreek, Cooper Kupp, maybe Jamar Chase falls. We'll see.
A lot of good players. A lot of good players right in that slot.
I was going to say I've circled those names, and like I said, I don't have the strongest managers drafting before or after me. So I think honestly, it's a championship or bust type draft for me. You can't lose or you can't win your league, they say, coming out of the draft, but I think I might.
You can certainly lose it though. Let me tell you that.
And I lost it last year.
Now, along the lines, you talk about the managers before and after you. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit again. Who do you think will make the worst pick in the draft?
Worst pick. I would love to say Coco, but I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer this year. And I also think, it's another year where there's a consensus of number 1 pick. And I think taking the consensus guy, even if they bust, doesn't necessarily mean it's like the worst pick. Which was a little bit of my defense towards last season. I'm trying to remember the order off the top of my head. I feel like Jacko's been drafting at the turn the last 3 or 4 years at that 10, 11, 12 range.
Right around there.
He's been drafting really well. So I'm not going to point out him. I think I'm going to go, I'm going to go against the grain with this one. I think it's going to be Steve. I don't know why, but I think he's in the number 3 spot. Didn't show his face at the owners meeting. I think there's a village full of people with their pitchforks rooting for him to fail, and I am one of them. And you know what? I think I'm going to speak into existence. I think he'll make a bad pick this year.
All right. Well, we got some more questions about Mr. Blazer a little later on, but moving into some upcoming season predictions here. 2 quick questions on the actual NFL season. Who do you think is your fantasy MVP, and who you got in the Super Bowl?
Fantasy MVP. Do you mean just who's going to be the top player this year?
Yeah.
I think it's probably Jefferson, I would guess. But I honestly think Hurts made such a difference last year for Jacko's team that even though I know he won't be a first round pick, I think it would be you'd have to really fuck your draft up to not make the playoffs if you take Jalen Hurts. I think just the amount, the way that offense is set up, they have a harder schedule this year. He's going to throw a little more. He's actually going to be running in the 4th quarter. I feel like all of his points last year came in the first 3 quarters. I could picture him having the best QB season since Lamar in 2019. And then Super Bowl pick, Niners Chiefs.
Niners Chiefs. All right.
2 blue bloods. Yeah.
Truly, truly, they seems like they're right around there every year.
Yeah, but Jason, I'm not really too focused on the actual NFL. All I care about is through the fantasy lens.
Well, that's a perfect segue then to these next questions. So, who do you think finishes last this year?
I would love to know the punishment before making this guess because I like to think that the punishment fits the crime. I'm just gonna predict he hasn't lost in a while. I think the punishment this year is gonna be bad. I think he's gonna be sweating it. He played well last year. It had the best team going into the first round of the playoffs. Lost. I think it's gonna be Sam Prentice.
Wow. Sam, Sam,
I think Strickland Propane's going to turn into man in the can again pretty soon.
I wouldn't hate seeing it. I feel like Sam's always dancing right around that lower half of the table.
Yeah. He's always sweating those last couple weeks of the season. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's turn it around now. Whose turn is it to take home the title?
Honestly, you have the league record books in front of you. It's pretty black and white who the good managers and the bad managers are. I'm not trying to suck up to you because you're hosting the podcast. I think you might have a fire lit under your bum. I think you might make that would be, you've won once so far or twice?
I've won twice, and I've actually done the 12th to first turnaround before.
So I like that precedent. I think Zay has also won twice, or he's at least won a championship.
He's won once. This would have been his second had he not conceded.
Yeah, I'll pick it. I'll pick the first 3-time winner, Jason. I'm looking at you.
Hey,
I like the turnaround story. Yeah,
that means a lot. It'd be nice to get off the bottom and obviously back on top. But
hey, yeah. I'm rooting for you. I feel like you're going to have a tough season this year. I feel like you're really going to be focused on this podcast. You're really going to be focused on these articles coming out Thursday night, Friday morning. So, I just hope it works out for you. I feel like you're going to be really in the zone, and I'm predicting you. I'm predicting Stinky.
I appreciate that. Stinky would love to make a comeback, but as people struggle and do poorly in the league, there's obviously the shotgun punishment. Who do you think is going to have the fastest shotgun this year, and who do you think is going to do the most shotguns?
So most shotguns, I think, is going to be most shotguns. I don't think Nate has shotgunned ever. Or no, he's shotgunned twice, and both times I feel like he just crushed the can on his head and just didn't shotgun. I think there's some bad karma there, some bad juju. So I think Nate will shotgun 3 times, which I think will be the most, potentially 4. I know that would be the record, not the record for the most shotguns in a season, but I think that will be the most this year. Fastest shotgun, there's no faster gun in the West than Steve Blazer. I think I've sub 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's quick.
If we're getting into seltzer territory, I feel like you and Billy are both pretty quick as well. I feel like Coco is pretty fast as well. But if we're talking about a warm Bud Light, I don't think anyone does it faster than Steve.
He is pretty amazing at some of those guns. He gets them down real quick.
Yeah.
All right, we got some final thoughts here. I'm just going to ask for some comments on a few rumors that are floating around. Hopefully you feel comfortable addressing it, and if not, I'd still like you to address it. So, any comment on the rumor of the commissioner potentially stepping down in 2040?
Yeah, look, 2040 is not that far away. The commissioner, sorry, my phone's battery just said 20%. The commissioner will be in a different age bracket, not in a different tax bracket, but in a different age bracket. And look, I think he'll be happy to relinquish the reins. He did tell me I was his number one boy, but I think there's been some side dealing through the years, so you can never really take his word seriously. Nice. So we'll see. I'd like to throw. It would be a bit of a Biden candidacy for me after serving as right hand man for so many years. But I'd like to throw my name out there for 17 years from now. But we'll see.
You got to be one of the top candidates. There's no doubt in that. All right, next rumor we got, obviously the commissioner's sitting with the 1-1. You think there was any funny business there?
I don't. I did not like it at first. And I thought maybe there was a chance he had like recorded the race and then screen shared the recording and had like simulated it enough until he got first. But then I thought about it, and when he was clicking through the shuffles, I think he shuffled 3 times, and Durrani actually said, "Can you shuffle a fourth time?" And I
Yeah.
saw the mouse shuffle the fourth time. I think ultimately it'll be as infamous as the Zapruder film. I think Americans for decades will forever analyze the grainy video of the whatever the fuck that was, that race. But at the end of the day, I think it was clean. I think he cares too much. I think he cares way too much about this league, and I think he cares too much about his pristine legacy. So I think it was legit. If he gets it next year, then that's a different story.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, last one for you, and then we'll let you go. Any thoughts on Mr. Steve Blazer's delay in doing his punishment?
Like I said, there's a village full of people holding their pitchforks at the door of his apartment, waiting for him to do the tryout. Where do I stand on this? I would love for him to try out for the G League. Ultimately, I just want to see him do something stupid. I don't care what it is at this point. I think 5 years gone by without doing it. I think if it was anyone else, I would hear not. If it was me, I would be hearing nonstop from him. So look, I just want him to. I just want 2023 midnight on December 31st. I want 2 punishments to have been done in this calendar year, and I think the rest of the league feels that way too. I think we just want the books closed on that punishment, and then obviously this year's punishment as well, or at least the ball starts rolling. But yeah, and if he doesn't, look, I don't really know what you can threaten at this point. At some point, it's just pride, and I don't know how many owners meetings you can skip before you have to start looking in the mirror and start to wonder, what's wrong with me.
Yep. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best of luck in the draft and the season upcoming. And, maybe this will be the year that you finally get your hands on that trophy.
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Good luck this year. And I hope to make a midseason appearance at some point.